In our first story, Behind Mansion Walls.
Lucy seemed to find some kind of escape in using the internet.
An online search for love
I'll get you, you bastard!
finds the dark side of desire.
You will nothing without me. This house, this lifestyle, this luxury, this money.
You got that bitch!
And later,
He was a truly gifted individual. He could talk to animals, they listened.
celebrities called him the dog whisperer, but someone wanted him silenced.
Showing up with a bulletproof vest, a 9mm handgun. Is that what you bring to a meeting?
I'm Christopher Mason. Love and money. Sounds like the perfect combination for living the good life. But don't be fooled. Love and money can lead you to a deadly choice. To kiss or kill.
Lucy Landry was, to anybody who knew her, a delightful young lady. She was a very talented musician. All who knew her liked her.
It's the year 2000. Lucy is a 28-year-old student at an English university. Her live-in boyfriend works the night shift to make ends meet.
Bye, honey.
But Lucy is bored and restless.
She seemed to always have this outlet where she needed something else, or she wasn't happy with what she was doing.
There must be more to life than this. Something more romantic, more glamorous.
Although she came across as a bright, bubbly, intelligent girl, I think she was looking for something and she could never quite find it. Lucy seemed to find some kind of escape in using the internet.
And late one night, Lucy hits the jackpot. An American man living in Louisiana is also looking for love online. This guy's a little older than Lucy. He's 53. She's 28. But he is loaded. A multi-millionaire with money to burn. Harold Landry.
They met on the internet through a dating site. Lucy Landry was in Coventry. Harold Landry was in America. And looking at them both, you would wonder what they had in common. There was a 27-year age difference. She came from quite a humble background. He was very, very rich. She was certainly swept off her feet when she met Harold Landry.
Oil has made many millionaires in the South. Harold Landry discovers you don't even have to own the black gold to make a mint.
He ran a company that made hydraulic equipment for oil rigs and oil companies. He was a self-made millionaire, started with very little but built up his company. So it was very successful.
With Harold's wealth comes expensive tastes. He likes to collect antiques, rare stamps, and coins. He appreciates fine wines and owns a vacation home on a Mexican island.
Hello, this is Harold Landry speaking.
Harold seems like the perfect Southern gentleman, but he always gets what he wants.
Well, that's just too bad. It's your job to make it happen. You call me when it's done.
This man was not somebody who was anything except very confident of his own position and very confident of his own capabilities.
With millions in your back pocket, any dream can come true. Harold moves to England and quickly makes Lucy Mrs. Landry.
Why, thank you, sir.
He buys his new bride an English manor home on an exclusive country estate. There she lives in a world of wealth beyond her imagination. And both of them feel they have done particularly well.
I think that he felt he had found the perfect woman in Lucy Landry.
He could afford her things that she had never been afforded before and things that she may not even have dreamt about. And she must have felt at that stage like her life was made.
Now, the way you tell if a wine's got good legs is you
They have a daughter together. And for Lucy, the life of a struggling student is a distant memory.
see how the wine sticks to the wine.
On the face of it, they were a happy family with a nice house on a private estate, very quiet, 5-bedroom house, a dog, nice neighbours.
If only finding love and money were that simple.
She didn't work. I think she got comfortable. There was that element of boredom creeping in. And Harold got what he wanted, and Lucy maybe hadn't got everything that she wanted.
There was something inside there, inside of her, which obviously was restless.
Harold's millions once dazzled Lucy, putting the pearls around her neck. Now, those pearls are choking her.
It's almost as though things shifted and she suddenly thought, maybe what am I doing with this guy?
Both big drinkers. The Landry's nights at home start swaying from Beaujolais to bitterness.
He would belittle her just by letting her know constantly that he gave her all this.
You won't get.
You were nothing without me. This house, this lifestyle, this luxury, this money.
Just because I don't want someone that's old and fat and drunk all the time.
All this is down to me.
You drunken pig!
Lucy's fairy tale mansion in the English countryside is fast becoming a prison. Bored and lonely, she turns to an old flame, a consuming passion she just cannot resist: the internet.
She had a profile on a social network where she caught up with an old school friend, Gareth, and they got talking, and they probably got flirting.
Online flirting becomes real-time loving.
She identified, I think, with Gareth, something that she'd had in her past and something that was a little bit more exciting than probably Harold could give her. She liked the taste of that, and that's what forced her apart from her husband.
And now, Harold Landry's dream crumbles. A young bride, an English manor house, a happy life in love. His millions can't buy it all, and he can't stand it.
Harold Landry came across as a very warm and friendly character. But he had running through him a jealous, nasty streak. He would fly into a rage at any opportunity, particularly when he didn't get his own way.
Online dating profiles are quick to tell you about loving fine wines and romantic walks on the beach. They are less forthcoming about past charges for murder.
She found out online what her husband had done. And she found out these things about him that she couldn't believe and she couldn't quite compute.
Louisiana, Landry country. He labeled himself a true Cajun. And here around New Orleans is where Harold made millions and made trouble.
He just always seemed like he thought he was better than everybody else. He never was cordial or nice.
New Orleans attorney Gilbert "Gibby" Andre knew Harold Landry when he lived in St. Bernard Parish.
Landry moved to the North Shore, started his own business. Well, he needed help with his family. Part of that helped including having a babysitter assist him in raising his kids. That's where Miss Price comes in.
Miss Price is Landry's nanny.
Well, Miss Price and he develop a relationship, and it turned into an affair. Mr. Price comes home early for work one day, as is always the case in cases of affairs. As he's driving down towards his house, Price sees Landry. Landry pulls out a revolver. Price gets out of his vehicle to confront Landry.
Get out of the car! Get out!
Landry shoots Price in the neck.
Chris Price wasn't entirely in the wrong place at the wrong time. There is a hospital right across the road.
Literally, you could see the hospital from where Price was laying on the highway, bleeding. He goes straight into surgery, and he is saved.
Luckily, Mr. Price survives, and so does Harold Landry. Charges of attempted murder are reduced to aggravated battery. He gets a non-custodial sentence.
The man, Landry, takes out a gun in cold blood, tries to blow away Mr. Price, whose wife he's having an affair with, and then drives away to leave him to bleed to death. Did not serve a moment in jail for this.
Lucy is in a bind. Her husband likes to solve problems of the heart with the barrel of a gun. And she's having an affair. It's her move.
I'll get you, you bastard!
Behind her English mansion walls, Lucy Landry is making some terrible discoveries. One is that she no longer loves her wealthy American husband, Harold.
It's his money that's bought the house. It's his money which puts food on the table. And boy, does he let her know about that all the time. And she may have just been lonely and looking for love.
Lucy finds that love with an old school friend on the internet. And then her online searches uncover something frightening.
Of course, we all have moments in our lives when our finer qualities don't get the chance to shine. It's just that Harold Landry's indiscretions involve his children's nanny, illicit sex, and the deadly blast of a .38 revolver. Enough to make any inquisitive wife reach for her lawyer.
Ruthless is an outstanding way to describe many facets of Harold Landry's character. He was ruthless in his business life, he was ruthless with the people he dealt with, and he was certainly ruthless in his personal life. And he was the kind of guy who didn't like people getting in his way.
Lucy has already tasted Harold's anger.
Oh, come on, hit me! Come on!
Now she knows just how far he could go. But she finds it difficult to leave.
Her father begged her to leave him. When they found out what had happened in America, they begged her to get out and get out now. But she didn't. Why? Only she will know. It may be that she didn't believe it. It may be that she was too reluctant to simply walk out on the lifestyle that she'd been accustomed to.
That wealthy lifestyle is addictive. Lucy takes a gamble. Can she keep the riches and her new lover, and somehow leave Harold Landry behind?
She was a woman who was prepared to leave Harold Landry, but not the life to which she'd become accustomed, which was a high standard of living, a luxury lifestyle.
By now, Harold is aware of his wife's affair. He takes off to his Mexican vacation home for some breathing space. Lucy uses the opportunity to bring her lover into the family mansion.
She was fairly blatantly shoving the fact that she was having an affair in Harold Landry's face, almost forcing the issue.
Furious, Landry soon returns to England, his marriage now in tatters. Then, Lucy gets back on the computer. Harold's computer this time. On it, she finds naked photos he has taken of himself.
She found them on his laptop. She called him a pervert and a paedophile and all these horrendous terms and threatened to post these photographs up at the school gates where their children went to school.
It's disgusting.
I think it was just indicative of her looking for ammunition at that stage of their relationship, looking for any kind of leverage she could get over him when they came to separate.
Don't you even care about your own children?
If you think I'm paying for you to shack up with that loser, you're nuts!
You'll be in jail by the time our divorce comes through.
Harold fights back, beginning his own affair.
You are nothing but a pervert. I'm putting you on the sex offenders list.
Get out of here, you bitch!
It was almost like this game of one-upmanship that was going on.
The community needs to be warned about someone like you.
Anything you can do, I can do far worse.
Oh, you would, I know.
Harold agrees to let Lucy move out, and he will pay for her apartment on one condition.
When he asked Lucy if Gareth was going to move in with her, and he requested that Gareth pay half of the rent, she went ballistic. She wasn't going to have any of that.
I may be the slut, but you're the whore.
There was no way in his mind that he was going to continue to fund her lifestyle after what he saw was an act of betrayal on her part.
She wanted Harold's money, but she didn't want Harold.
On the evening of February 1st, 2010, Lucy Landry discovers just how far Harold can be pushed.
Whenever they were in the house, I think there was always going to be an argument.
I put those photographs all over the school and all over the community. That's what you did.
She'd reached her emotional limits to what she could stand from the dead end that she'd run her relationship down to. And H wasn't going to make it easy for her on a divorce.
But you are not getting
A fight begins that will nullify any need for divorce court. Harold Landry says he comes under attack.
I had a row. There was a push and a shove. She came at him with a knife.
I'll get you, you bastard, I tell ya!
And he picked up a rolling pin, he says, in self-defense, and hit her straight over the top of the head.
The evening ends with Lucy Landry dying on her front driveway, with that kitchen knife sticking out of her side. Harold is arrested that night and quickly admits the crime.
Harold Landry was guilty of this crime, and he admitted as much. But he claimed that she had provoked him to such an extent that he lost control of himself, and he didn't know what he was doing.
Harold claims the fight was all a blur, that he acted in self-defense. The English police find his story less than convincing.
Let us not forget what happened immediately after. What did Harold Landry do? He did not fall to his knees. He did not scream. He did not call the police. He did nothing except walk away calmly. He went to his safe. He packed up a lot of his valuables and belongings, and he drove around to his lover's house. These were not the act of a man who had blanked out, who was not in control of his emotion.
Prosecutors charge that Harold knew exactly what he was doing on that bloody February night. And forensic evidence tells the tale of Lucy Landry's desperate fight for her life.
You're a cunt!
Lucy Landry had said something to Harold Landry that finally tipped him over the edge.
I'll make sure you never see those kids again!
He picked up a granite rolling pin and smacked her over the head with it. He picked up a kitchen knife. She staggered out and he followed her.
Harold chases her through the house, lashing out with the carving knife again and again.
And if that wasn't enough, he had then followed her out into the garden as she ran, begging for her life. And he had caught up with her and stabbed her 23 times. What the case hinged on was whether or not Harold Landry had intended to kill her or do her serious harm. He had claimed not. The reality was, when the jury decided, that he knew exactly what he was doing.
You shut your mouth now, you bitch!
And whilst all along, H said that he loved his wife, at no point during the case did he say he regretted what he did.
While the jury doesn't hear about Harold's past conviction in Louisiana, they still find him guilty of murder. The judge sentences him to 16 years in prison. He will be 79 before he is eligible for parole.
I think his wife just stopped loving him and he couldn't deal with that. And if he couldn't have her, I don't think anybody could.
He couldn't bear the thought that a wife who he had given so much to was just going to walk out. He was always in control, and he didn't like that loss of control.
It doesn't surprise me at all that Landry went someplace else and killed somebody. He thought he was invincible. He thought of himself as a rich prick. You can't touch me, I'm better than you. Or I'm past you, I'm above you.
In the lonely corners of the Pacific Northwest, rugged mountains and deep rivers hold many dark secrets. It's Wednesday morning, October 28th, 2009. Near the town of Anacortes, about an hour north of Seattle, strange things are afoot.
Dispatch 911, what's your emergency?
And someone is watching.
There's two vehicles facing back to back.
They saw a man transferring a large plastic bag from one car to another at a place where that wouldn't take place.
And it looks like somebody's got plastic or something, I don't know, between them. Did you see any people? I just saw one guy.
There's another thing hidden in those misty mountains. Money. Amazon, Boeing, Starbucks, Microsoft. They're all based in the Seattle area. It's one of the top 10 places in America where the super rich live. Super rich means you're worth 30 million plus. And one thing about the wealthy, they will pay for the very best, even for their pets.
Ichiro Suzuki from the Seattle Mariners, the head of Starbucks, Howard Schultz, and rock stars from Pearl Jam and Nirvana. What do they have in common? They all had problem pooches they brought to renowned dog trainer Mark Stover. Across the Northwest, he's known as the Dog Whisperer.
He had a great client list, and people really liked him. He was definitely a master of the dogs. And he saved a lot of dogs from being destroyed.
Mark Stover's sister Victoria has proudly watched him grow from a troubled teen to the dog trainer to the stars.
According to what I have heard, he was making $1 million a year as a dog trainer.
Behind mansion walls, even the dogs are rolling in it. In 2007, New York real estate tycoon Leona Helmsley passed away, leaving millions to her Maltese lapdog, Trouble. Miami heiress Gail Posner left an $8 million mansion to her Chihuahua Conchita. A dog that wore a $15,000 Cartier diamond necklace and a $12,000 summer wardrobe. The wealthy will pay thousands for the perfect pup, and much more to stop it doing its business on the marble staircase. That's when Seattle society would call Mark Stover.
He had an ability to talk to animals in a way that I've never seen in another human being.
Dog boarding kennel owner Guy Palumbo says Mark had a unique gift.
In my line of work, I deal with dog trainers all the time. There's a million dog trainers, but there was nobody like Mark Stover.
But on that Wednesday in October, Mark Stover couldn't be found.
He was always on time. If he wasn't on time, he would call his clients. He took very good care of his clients. He wouldn't just blow off a day of appointments.
The next day, something shows up on Mark's doorstep, and it's horrifying. Mark's personal protector, his favorite dog, Dingo.
Ding was shot. Ding went up on the porch and was bleeding, and the employees found her.
Dingo has been shot in the head, but is still alive. Police are called, and they search the house. They find blood spattered in the hallway, and in the bathroom, signs of a cleanup.
And according to police, when they entered the house, they smelled bleach. Witnesses who went into the house also smelled bleach.
It looks like a crime scene. And suddenly, a 911 call from the day before becomes a crucial clue.
Their two vehicles are facing back to back. It looked like two station wagons, and it looks like somebody...
The eyewitness saw a man acting suspiciously not far from Mark Stover's house. She took down 2 license numbers from the cars she saw. It turns out one car belongs to Mark Stover. The other car is owned by a man that police would now like to talk to, Michael Oakes.
Michael Oakes was a security expert and also worked at a computer software security firm as well. He advised people on tactics. He wrote articles about guns and ammo magazines.
In 2008, Oakes is hired by wealthy heiress Linda Updike.
Michael Oakes came out to her house, looked at her security cameras, looked at her defenses, and gave her advice.
Michael Oakes begins working with Linda Updike as a consultant.
And squeeze slowly.
He ends up securing the master bedroom.
That professional relationship started turning into a romantic one. And it wasn't too long that Michael Oakes and Linda Updike were living together.
Oakes lands quite a catch. Linda Updike is a 6-foot blonde glamazon, and her father is a multimillionaire publishing baron and winemaker.
Linda Updike grew up in a very wealthy family. She was into horses. She was a junior Olympic equestrian rider. So she came from a privileged background. Money was never an issue for Linda Updike.
On the day police discover the blood at Mark Stover's home, Michael Oakes is at Linda Updike's mountain retreat. It isn't long before the county sheriff's department comes knocking.
And deputies want to talk to Michael Oakes. He agrees. But in the meantime, before he starts talking to him, he says, "I have to get my medicine."
What happens next is shocking.
He goes out to his SUV, gets a plastic bag, and throws it over a knoll by the house. Well, one of the deputies sees that. They go out and retrieve the plastic bag. It smells like bleach. And inside is Michael Oakes' .22 caliber handgun. At that point, because of what happened, the deputies arrest him for murder.
But this case won't be so clear-cut. It's a love triangle gone wrong. And the third player is Michael Oakes' current partner, Linda Updike. She knows the missing dog trainer very well. They were married for 5 years, and it ended badly.
It was a difficult divorce, acrimonious divorce.
I know where you are.
There was a lot of anger there.
Every minute of the day.
He had a strong personality.
What the hell?
He even admitted he holds grudges.
Mark Stover is famous around Seattle for his almost magical ability to talk to dogs.
He was a truly gifted individual. He could talk to animals, they listened.
On October 28th, 2009, he disappears. And while Stover's body can't be found, there's enough evidence to charge Michael Oakes with his murder just 2 days later. Oakes was seen near Stover's home acting strangely. And shell casings found at the murder scene match a gun he tried to hide from police. But why did he do it? And did Linda Opdyke play a role? Ex-wife of the victim, current lover of the killer. Linda and Mark first meet in the early 90s.
Linda Opdyke hired Mark Stover to train her dog. And that relationship, which was professional, became emotional. And they started dating, and eventually were together for more than 14 years.
Together, they create Mark's dream, a dog training business. It's housed on a private island owned by Opdyke's millionaire father. They finally marry in 2002. But within a few years, their love turns sour. Linda accuses Mark of being aggressive and controlling.
He had a strong personality. He even admitted he holds grudges.
In 2007, they divorce. Mark Stover's dream is crushed. He doesn't take it too well.
It was a difficult divorce, acrimonious divorce. There was a lot of anger there. He had lost his footing. He was trying to understand who he was now without the love of his life, Linda.
Then, Mark goes too far.
He was a constant presence in her life, a harassing presence.
I'm watching you, you bitch.
Until one day, he was caught going through her garbage. Neighbors reported that. That was the evidence that the Okanogan County Sheriff needed to arrest him for stalking.
Mark takes a plea bargain, giving up his collection of guns and agreeing not to contact Linda, which from April 2008 on is exactly what he does.
After that conviction, Linda Opdyke says she never saw Mark Stover again.
Mark Stover seems to get over his former wife, Linda, dating again and even becoming engaged. But has he really moved on? Linda's security consultant turned lover, Michael Oakes, claims Stover turned his attention on him.
What Michael Oakes said was that Mark had been stalking him for months and showing up apparently at a couple of places.
As he stands trial for murder, Michael Oakes explains how he came to be at Mark Stover's house on the morning of the shooting. He says the dog whisperer became obsessed with getting his wedding photos back from Linda Opdyke.
I want my wedding photos back, man.
According to Michael Oakes, one day, Mark Stover showed up.
Your daughter looks nice in yellow. I see you wearing it all the time.
Threatening that he would do something against Michael Oakes' children if he didn't get these wedding photos back.
Well, I want my wedding photos back.
Mark Stover was obsessed with these wedding photos that he had with Linda Opdyke.
According to Michael Oakes' testimony, my brother had called him over for a meeting. First thing in the morning.
He claims that he went over to Mark Stover's house to make one final plea that he didn't have the wedding photos. And that was what the meeting was all about.
For that breakfast chat, Michael Oakes arms himself with a pistol and wears a bulletproof vest. He says he was terrified of Stover.
Michael Oakes said he went into Mark's house. Mark invited him in.
You just wait there, I'll put the dog out.
He stated in his story that my brother comes around the corner and shoots him nearly point blank. After that, Michael Oakes wrestles my brother to the ground and somehow shoots my brother with my brother's own gun.
Oakes claims that Stover's dog Dingo tries to attack him as he leaves, so he shoots her.
Michael Oakes admits to shooting Mark Stover in self-defense. But what to do with the body? He then takes the body out in a plastic bag, puts it in Mark Stover's own station wagon, drives a half-mile where his SUV is, puts the body in his own SUV, and two women see that happen, that he had the body.
Oakes says he drives around in a panic, thinking no one will believe his story. Then he dumps the body into the icy depths of the Swinomish Channel.
It's very easy to hide a body in this state. In the land, in the rivers, in the ocean. We've had serial murderers here, and they still haven't found all the bodies.
Michael Oakes tells the court that it was simply a meeting that went terribly wrong. A deadly surprise attack that he was fortunate to survive. But how big a surprise was it? Investigators find a receipt in Oakes' car. He'd gone to the mall at 5:30 a.m. on the morning of the murder.
There's security footage showing that he bought camouflage pants, he bought ankle weights, he bought rope, and a knapsack.
Camouflage clothes, weights, 100 feet of rope. Strange supplies for a social call. Perfect supplies for murder.
Michael Oakes went over with the intent to kill my brother and did so in cold blood.
When rock stars and celebrities knocked on the door of the dog whisperer, they came for his unique ways with animals. But when Michael Oakes came to visit, he had something else on his mind.
Showing up with a bulletproof vest, a 9mm handgun. Is that what you bring to a meeting?
Police found Oakes' bulletproof vest in his car. It becomes one of the key points in his defense.
Michael Oakes made the allegation in court that Mark Stover shot first. Michael Oakes was wearing a Kevlar vest, and right in the middle of the vest was a slug, right straight at the heart.
But is that shot right to the heart all a bit too neat? Prosecutors have their own theory about how that vest was hit.
The prosecution claimed that may not have happened because the slug was so perfect right in the middle of the Kevlar vest. They surmised that that was done after the murder by Michael Oakes' gun.
Oakes says he was frightened of Mark Stover and prepared for a surprise attack. But in CCTV footage taken just before the fatal meeting, Oakes is seen buying some unusual provisions at 5:30 a.m.
Before he went to Mark's house, he stopped off and got weights, anchor weights, also a large line that you could use to tie things up.
Oakes has a bizarre explanation for his pre-dawn shopping spree. If chased by Mark Stover's guard dog, he would quickly change into the camouflage gear, run through the forest, and use a rope to climb a nearby water tower. When asked how he expected to outrun a highly trained attack dog, he simply says, "I'm very fast."
Authorities believe Michael Oakes stalked his victim prior to the murder. 4 days before the shooting, CCTV at Linda Opdyke's home captures a curious scene. Oakes carries rifle cases out of the house, and Linda gives him quite a farewell.
Security footage caught the two of them in a passionate embrace, a long goodbye.
So it seemed like he was aware of the gravity of where he was going and what he was doing.
Linda Opdyke had originally hired Michael Oakes to protect her from her ex-husband.
She was claiming that Mark Stover was continuing to harass her via phone calls, showing up at her house unannounced, stalking her, going through her garbage.
You never call me again.
She needed some protection.
And now, Michael Oakes is charged with the murder of Linda's ex-husband. Was that what she wanted? Is this the goodbye to a man being sent on a mission? In court, both Michael and Linda say that she had no idea where Michael was going on this day.
Linda Opdyke said that that's how they always said goodbye. That was anything different. It wasn't this, I'm going off to war kind of a goodbye. I may never come back kind of goodbye.
There is no evidence to connect Linda Opdyke to her ex-husband's murder. Michael Oakes also says he's innocent, even though he covers his tracks like a killer.
Michael Oakes threw away or destroyed every piece of evidence that would have proven his story. We don't have the weapon. We don't have the body. We don't even have the clothes that Michael was wearing at the time of the murder, which would have had a hole in them had my brother shot them. Anything that would have proven Michael's case is somehow disappeared.
And the wedding pictures that Mark Stover was supposed to be so angry about, they weren't missing at all.
That was one of the first things I found, was a box of wedding pictures. So they were at the house. I don't understand this story about the wedding pictures.
What's left behind is a compelling case for the prosecution.
What the prosecution and the police said in the court case was that Michael Oakes came to the house. Mark Stover had an attack dog named Dingo.
My brother let Ding out. Michael Oakes shot the dog.
Michael Oakes confronted Mark Stover in the front driveway.
What the hell?
And then he went in after my brother. And I think Michael Oakes just shot him right there. I think Michael shot him in the back or the back of the head.
Michael Oakes' highly paid defense team had once represented Ted Bundy. Today, they can't stop an infectious feeling growing in the courtroom.
The sequence of events, in terms of the camouflage, in terms of what he did when, didn't seem to make a lot of sense.
In the end, the jury did not believe his story. The judge didn't believe his story. His story had a lot of holes in it.
After 3.5 days of deliberation, the jury returns with its verdict: guilty.
The judge, who publicly said he didn't buy his story, gave him the maximum in this state, which is 26.5 years.
No charges are filed against Linda Opdyke.
Linda Opdyke said Michael Oakes was never a hitman, and the Opdyke family has said that they have no connection or have nothing to do with him being a hitman.
In sentencing, the judge searched for the reason Michael Oakes killed. He thought Oakes saw himself as a modern-day knight setting out to slay a dragon for his princess. Cute story, but it leaves many questions unanswered. One is, just where is Mark Stover's body? Divers searched the area where Michael Oakes says he dumped Mark's corpse. They found nothing, and even the judge in the case says he doesn't believe that he was dumped anywhere near there.
Nobody knows right now where Mark Stover's body is.
One thing I regret not doing is when I asked the judge, where is my brother's body? I regret that I didn't turn and look at Michael Oakes and ask him, where is my brother?
For Mark's sister Victoria, not having a body to bury just adds to the terrible pain of losing her brother.
I think when we lose someone, one of the things that causes us the most pain is we are afraid that that person is going to be forgotten. I think we really strive to make sure that that person is remembered. To not have a marker on this earth to indicate that he ever was here is really difficult. I understand the difficulty that the families of the prisoners of war go through who have never found their loved ones. It just not having a marker puts more pain into the idea of they'll not be remembered. They won't have a place here. And I think that's the most painful part for everybody.
And the biggest question that nags at those involved with this case is still why? If Michael Oakes wasn't acting in self-defense, why did he kill Mark Stover?
If Mark Stover was moving on and wasn't harassing Linda Updike anymore, there was no reason for Michael Oakes to go over there to confront him about pictures that supposedly he told him he didn't have. I don't think there's closure in this case because people don't understand why he did this, the real reason why he did this.
I believe that Michael Oakes will tell his story. My understanding is that he was raised in faith. He took a man's life. That sort of a sin is going to weigh heavy on him. And I do believe that he will come forward. After all, what did he get out of the deal?
They say you can't buy love, but you can pay a heavy price for chasing it. Harold Landry tried to buy a second chance at happiness, but he could never trade in his darker self. And Michael Oakes masqueraded as the knight in shining armor. It cost an innocent man's life. In the end, their lives came down to a devilish decision. The choice was theirs, to kiss or kill. Till next we meet behind mansion walls, I'm Christopher Mason.